Hi, I'm Ben, and this week on I'm Inspired Now, episode 6, which is my inspirational side project of happiness, usually I'm talking to guests about travel-related topics on the Travelman Podcast, which I'm sure you already know about. I'm inspired that my car is finally fixed, so I say a big thank you to Adrian and his workmate Vic for doing an amazing job on my Nissan Navara pickup. I'll be interviewing a mountain climber soon on the Travelman Podcast. That will be great. And I just spoken to a guy that looks at travel marketing in the tourism industry and how COVID-19 is damaging it. I rearranged my studio, which is really cool. Sounds great now. And I'm going to read to you some diary entries from when I was a boy traveling to Manor Island on Fiji. And the elephant in the room. Probably I might have to say something about COVID-19, which ruined my trip and many others.
No, you take your time. You're on the train and you're doing it right.
I love this song. It's my song, if you're wondering. So, thanks. Oh, should I do a double intro? Thanks for joining me. I've already said thank you for joining me. But anyway, let's get going. Nissan Navara pickup. So I've had a lot of issues recently with my Nissan Navara. It had a turbo problem, had a clutch issue. The radiator was stuffed. What else? Radiator, clutch, turbo. Actually, it was just a turbo solenoid, so that's not such a bad issue. If you know anything about cars, it regulates something. It does something that fixes something else. It's very interesting. But thank you very much again, Vic and Adrian. You guys did an amazing job there at your premises. That's kind of close to my house. Don't know if I should mention it or not, because I don't really want people to know where I live or how close I live. But I'm sure Adrian's probably screaming at me. He's saying, Ben, mention my company. Mention it's AV Automotive. So just look up AV Automotive. That's where I get my car fixed. Adrian will probably pick up the phone, or Vic. Something like that. One of those guys. Thanks, mate. So yeah, it was blowing smoke for a long time. So that's also another reason why I had to get it fixed up. It was just a smoke blower. So here we go. I've also got a great guest lined up for the Travelman Podcast. He's called Tom Fabry. Or Fabry. He's a public speaker, an adventurer, and mountain climber. So he's attempting to become, what is it? To do I think it's called the Adventure Grand Slam, where you have to do the 7 peaks from every continent, the 7 tallest peaks. You've got to climb them all, and you've got to, I think, ski or walk or whatever, the North and South Pole. So he's done everything but Mount Everest, so I can't wait to talk to him about Mount Everest. And if you know anything about climbing and Mount Everest, you'll know that it costs a shitload of dosh to climb Mount Everest. It's more than 50,000, maybe it's even more, 80,000, depending on what country you live in. But I was given Tom Fabry's name via Chris Curran, who I've had on the podcast recently, and he is a audio engineer, podcast engineer, and he's amazing at what he does. So he's helped me a little bit with my audio, even though he probably doesn't think he has, but he has, because I listen to his show, Podcast Engineering Show, which is fantastic. So Chris, when I was speaking to Chris about Colorado, which the episode's coming out today, so I'm trying to I'm trying to post this episode of I'm Inspired Now, episode 6, the same day I release a new Travelman Podcast episode. So if that happens, then you're listening to this either before or after you've just listened to the Colorado episode with Chris, which is a 2-parter because we spoke for quite a while. But yeah, while Chris was telling me about his trips in Colorado and so forth, he mentioned Alaska. I think, yeah, Alaska. And then he somehow mentioned that he had Tom Fabry on one of his shows, which he doesn't have anymore. And that's when I started asking Chris a few more questions about Tom. And then I thought, Tom would actually be a very interesting person to have on the podcast. Tom is, as I said, he's an adventurer / mountain climber. He's also an entrepreneur. He's an author. He's also a dual-rated pilot. So he flies helicopters. He was a captain of an airline. And from listening to some of Tom's work with other podcasts or YouTube channels, he said he was really he hit the bottom and then he rose like a phoenix. So yeah, it will be very interesting to hear Tom. Also, yeah, that's right. I got my pal Chris Rainey from Yellow Productions to do an episode with me. We spoke about Hawaii. That was fun. So that's already out there, so you can listen to the Hawaii episode with Chris and I. We had a heap of fun just chatting about all things to do in Hawaii, where to swim, where to go, where to eat, what to eat, not how to hurt your big toe on an escalator. That's a massive fail, Chris. Massive fail. So we spoke a lot about different things. So we spoke a lot about Hawaii and just a lot of fun things. So enjoy that episode. It's already out, so continue listening to this and then listen to that if you haven't listened to it yet. I also spoke to another Chris. His name is Chris Torres, and he's a Scottish guy with Portuguese history or Portuguese background. Very interesting guy. We spoke about how the travel tourism industry will have to move forward after COVID-19 and how elements of it is damaged and will it change forever and so forth. So that episode will be coming out soon. I had a great chat with Chris Torres because he has so much insight. He does have a travel marketing business and he has been directly affected by the issue of COVID-19. So that would be great to get Chris Torres. So that will be great for you guys to hear Chris Torres on my podcast. So that's all recorded. It will come out in maybe a month's time or so, something like that. Not quite sure. And thanks, Sean Morrissey, my friend, for letting me know about an article he read that Chris Torres was in about crisis travel management or something like that. So thanks again, Sean, for that information. I've changed my studio around. So I used to have this table in the middle of the room, kind of. It was a strange setup. Because I've got a big couch in here and I've got a row of board games that sit prominently on one side of the room. So what I did is I switched the table from in the middle so it's up against a wall. So it's more stable now. It's more solid. So when I do hit the table, it doesn't really do anything. So that's good. I think it sounds better. I don't know what it is, but I feel like my voice is quite dead. Yeah, and a little bit of inside. I've got my blind up at the moment. Usually I have it fully down and I've got my door fully closed with the light on because it gets pretty dark in this room. But at the moment, the blind is up. The door is open. There could be a cat that walks in and out. And I don't think I'm echoing at all, which is really cool. Means I can have the door open more often, even though it's probably not the right thing to do because I want this sound to be as dead as possible. I don't want any reverberation in my studio. It's just the way I like it. But yeah, also figured out how to do a double ender, which is basically when you record yourself locally and your guest records themselves locally, but you're also still talking on Skype or whatever online platform you choose to speak on, but you don't record that audio even though you can. You're recording your local audio, so when it comes to putting the podcast together, it's really clear. It sounds like that person's in the room with you. Obviously, depending on how good their mic setup is. But if they're recording, they generally know what they're doing. So, yeah, so that is great. I'm really happy now. I know how to do that. So hopefully, I can't say hopefully today. Hopefully, the audio quality does sound a heap better when I'm talking to guests, and there'll be none of me like glitching out or whatever. So, yeah, that is great. Now, COVID-19. Well, what can I say about COVID-19? Yeah, it's ruined a lot of people's holidays. It's ruined a lot of businesses. It's ruined a lot of things in the travel industry. It's ruined a lot of people's lives. Depression's hit people harder than ever before because, depending on what country you live in, you might not be able to leave your house. And if you're by yourself and you don't have a big family network or a friend network, what are you going to do by yourself if you can't walk out your door and walk down the street or grab a coffee or just do something simple like sit on a park bench? I know in Australia people are getting fined for just sitting in a park by themselves, reading a book or eating a sandwich or something. That is the most ridiculous thing in the world to do, is find someone that's just trying to be by themselves, keeping their distance in a park, eating a sandwich or just reading a book. That's not finding material. That's just bloody stupid. So I hope that our police in Victoria, where I live, I hope that any punishments that have been dealt to people like that, hopefully they get revoked, because it's ridiculous and it's wrong. And COVID-19 is a bastard of a thing. So thanks again, COVID-19, for ruining my vacation and ruining everyone's bloody lives, you bastard of a thing. But anyway, Mother Nature's recovering from COVID-19, so that's good. I think the only benefit out of COVID-19, I think, is that we're going to realize that the 5-day working week's gone out the window. People are going to value their lives better. People are going to realize how important their friends, well, more so their families are. And their friends, yeah. And they're going to realize that, it's shit to be locked up by yourself too, if you're an individual by yourself. And, yeah, I think there's going to be some good changes out of COVID-19. There will be some bad changes, considering travel's going to get a lot tougher. It's going to maybe get it more expensive. It's going to be different, but it won't be so bad. And you know what? We'll probably go back to normality in a couple of years or a year or whenever COVID-19 finishes or we get the vaccine to help us out. So, let's just take it as it comes. It's a massive pain in the butt. Okay, now I would like to read some diary entries. If you want, oh, I'm doing a big burp. I am going to read some diary entries. Maybe one. I don't know. Let me just look. Oh, I like that one. This is not in any particular order, mind you. Oh, maybe I will start at the start. It's Wednesday, November 25. I think it's 1989. Yeah, let's just go with 1989. So I was 9 years old. We got up at 5 a.m. and went to the airport at 5:30. It's very fast, because usually it doesn't take you half an hour to wake up and go to an airport. But anyway, then we got Air Pacific. So maybe I was trying to say that we caught an Air Pacific flight. Air Pacific is the national carrier of Fiji. And we flew to Nandi Island. No, actually, I should stop interjecting. Let's just read it the way it's read. We got up at 5 a.m. and went to the airport at 5:30. Full stop. Then we got Air Pacific to Nandi Island. We arrived after lunch. We went to the region of Fiji. First thing we did was sunbaking Then we ordered a catamaran and sailed for a long time. I sailed, but Dad took over. I nearly smashed into the buoy. Now, was this a child, or was this the floating boy in the water? I'm guessing the floating boy in the water. Okay, back to story. Then we went for a swim in the pool. Bar. We went for a swim. How can you swim in a pool bar? But anyway, then we did windsurfing. The Fijian said I was a beautiful windsurfer. Then we went... There we go. Turn the page. Then we went to the swimming pool. Then we went to have a drink. We heard HERD, beautiful singers. Then went to a restaurant and I got a menu, and then we went to see firewalking. That was when Fijian people walked over hot ashes. Oh, yeah. That's what I said. Oh, yeah. One more thing. We went swimming with my dad. I won. I don't remember the race, but anyway, apparently won. You had to swim to a huge nesting place in the middle of the sea. The end. Wow. What a story. Now, I'm wondering if people are saying, please, please, please read another story, because I got plenty in here. These are all from my childhood. Okay, I'll read another story. Let's go for it. So Thursday, November 26, I think 1989. So we got up in the morning and had breakfast. It was very nice. Then my brother and I hired a double canoe. We almost took us to Hawaii. Wow. It was good, but Strat? It start after we went to... But what am I trying to say there? But straight after we went to the swimming pool. Oh, straight. But straight after we went to the swimming pool. So I'm making a point that we nearly got to Hawaii, and then straight after that we went to the swimming pool. And we had a swim. Now, I forgot where I am on this bloody... Where am I? Okay. Then we had a swim. Okay, so I was saying, and we had a swim and a drink. And then my brother and I have a canoe out, or we took a canoe out, and I go out and I go out really far. We go far. We go for more swimming in the sea and in the swimming pool. I really got to proofread these stories from being 9 years old. But anyway, back to the story. Then we have dinner in a Fijian restaurant, and then come back and go to bed. Wow. So if you guys enjoy Guy, you a solitary guy. Oh, hold on. It hasn't finished yet. I was very sunburnt. It hurt. When I was in bed, I was burnt on my hands and legs and face. The end. So that's two of my stories, back to back. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed them. And if you want me to read more of my stories, maybe I'll do that in a future I'm Inspired Now episode. Also, I changed my podcast episode schedule, if you're wondering, to 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That's a Wednesday night, Australian time, Melbourne time. So have a look on the travelmanpodcast.com for more information about the change of times. I've just had a coffee, so my throat's probably a little bit gluey now, but I've nearly finished. And the last thing I'm going to say is that I've been playing around with this Headliner app, and it allows you to have a segment of audio with your episode thumbnail behind it. And that is then sent out to various social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and so forth like that. It's really cool. I've done one. I've done the Hawaii travel guide with Chris Rainey from Yellow Productions, and actually Brad Hargis from the Cinema Guys podcast. He's been doing it with the Cinema Guys podcast, and I think it's really neat. So I got the idea from Brad. So thanks a lot, Brad. And thanks a lot for everyone for joining me today on I'm Inspired Now. I'm inspired now. Thank you. Bye.
No, you take your time. You're on the train and you're doing it right. train and you do it